How's it going, everyone? I am Jeremy Alexander, and welcome to another Let's Play to Learn video. If you're not familiar with this game already, you should be. It is Cave Story. I thought it'd be cool if we did another Studio Pixel game and their magnum opus game itself. This is, I guess, the remake on Steam, Cave Story Plus, but it looks so much better than the original game. They've revamped the graphics, and obviously it's in English, so that's nice. You don't have to use the actual installer. And we're just going to play this little bit of a level here and just talk about Cave Story a little bit. There's really not much that I want to show past this. If you guys want to see me play this game more, then we will, but I think just this basic first cave is more than enough content to talk about. So if you aren't familiar with Cave Story, it's got this great narrative to it that I won't spoil for you, but basically it's like the holy grail of indie games. The first thing I will point out is this look ahead camera. All I do is mirror my player, and all of a sudden my camera takes a very slow time, but then it's going to pan all the way to the right or left, which works for Cave Story. Other than that, we also have this vertical looking camera where I can actually hold up and down, but the horizontal camera is automatic, where I actually have a little control over up and down movement. So it's got an interesting camera to it. It has another thing that I really like, and it's something else that I noticed about a lot of these Studio Pixel games, is there's no background art. It's just a solid color, and then they rely all on their foreground art, and yet it works fine. I know there are background art, there is background art in the coming levels, but really this works perfectly fine, and you wouldn't think it's suitable, but because they have the artwork here, it's perfect for this. Okay, so we got a life capsule, that's pretty good, and actually now that we've done our global HUDs, all you have to do is pause the timescale of your game and then pop up a global HUD with dynamic text of what you actually just got, and you could do that. So we can easily do that. We can easily do our life bar here. I think we can design this level. The one thing I've noticed with this level design that I absolutely love, and I want to actually implement in more, very easy to do, is you're going to notice the slopes. Now, I'm not saying that these slopes are perfect to what we're used to with a perfect diagonal slope, but let's say, for example, that they are diagonals underneath here, and maybe our player isn't actually, oh wow, that was awful. Maybe our player isn't actually colliding with the slope perfectly, which is a very common thing. We've talked about it before. We've tried avoiding it before, and someone once said that I should try to just fix the angle of the player to actually face the slope, which is doable, but for a lot of games, they get away with it, and Cave Story is one of the best examples of getting away with it, because we don't know if this is actually hitting if it's like clipping the collision or not. I have to be careful of that spike. I almost died. And instead, what they're doing is they have this overlapping tile. They have this tile go over in the Z order of things, which is really interesting to me from designing a level in that perspective. I really like that, and I think that I would like to incorporate that into my game, because having that kind of fixes the whole issue of you seeing the diagonal collision not working perfectly. I like that they have an air system in here. I think that's pretty funny. It's pretty simple, and there's definitely an easier way that we can definitely add that in, is what I was trying to say. I was trying to focus on not dying here now that I've given myself a really bad chance. One of the best things with Cave Story is the I guess you would call it the variable jump height. The variable jump height in this is ridiculous. I can hold down A and I can go even higher. Let's go into the mouth here. Let me get my first weapon so I can shoot my way out. I've obtained the Polar Star, otherwise known as the Pea Shooter. Again, this is one of the most classic indie games to have ever been released. There are a few, and this is one of them, so I'm pretty excited to play this game. If you guys want me to play more of this game, I'm sure there's a lot of things that we can be going over from this game. This is part of the narrative where I've noticed a lot of Studio Pixel games do. They kind of have this running narrative that is completely separate from your game. It literally takes you out of playing the game into telling you another story. And so when it comes to making these kind of games, you have to be very, very prepared, and you have to have a plan. You can't just wing it and make an arcade game. This game has been very well thought out, and it shows. Okay, so now that we have our weapon, now we can actually interact with this world and with this crazy environment. But the one thing that I've been noticing in a lot of games recently and a lot of platformers is they don't give me directions to shoot in, and I don't understand why. I mean, I get that it's the classic way where I can look up, I can look to the right, I can look to the left, and those are the directions I can shoot, but I like to shoot in diagonals. I like to have full 360 motion. I think that makes it way more fun and puts me in crazier situations. The other thing I've noticed in a lot of especially Studio Pixel games is their bullets just completely disappear after maybe 100 pixels. And that's okay, because that really influences me to get as close to these guys as possible to kill them. And that's obviously one of the biggest, what would you call that, elements, mechanics, to really play the game and get better at the game, because you have to really be careful, especially if you're low on health. So, like right there, I can't make this jump, but if I get a running jump, I should be able to because of this variable jump height, which is pretty crazy. I've already done a tutorial on variable jump height, so I'll leave a link in the description for that. But Cave Story is pretty much the king of that. I love the little things that they fall, the XP that I get. I call them Tostitos because that's what I used to call them when I originally played Cave Story years ago. I don't know why I called them Tostitos. They just look like them to me. All right, hold on. So now we're coming up on the end of this first cave tutorial, I guess you would call this. I really don't want to die. That would be really annoying. Okay, there we go. And I like that they have destructible blocks. They pretty much show you a lot of things in here, but the one thing you notice the most is the extra attention to all the animations when something dies or when something is collided on. Every time an enemy or every time I get hurt, I flash like crazy, and even my UI flashes as well. But when an enemy dies, it like plays a smoke effect. It drops an elastic Tostito, and then Tostito bounces around a little bit. We have a damage modifier going up. So there's a lot of things going on just in the basic core level of this game. Just like that. That was a crazy smoke effect. And then finally, after hopefully I will defeat this guy. If you have never played this game, this is a bit of a spoiler alert here. Yeah, that door has an eyeball, and if you're new to this game, you're probably just gonna be like, finally, I beat all the monsters, I'm gonna go straight to the door. That's probably your worst decision, because that door will immediately kill you. So we have to jump up and shoot the door first, if I can jump up a far enough distance. And there we go. So it's nice. It's a nice little hidden narrative from the developer there, that it's kind of like, oh, you're not done yet. You still have one more thing to kill. And then, of course, we go back to our story. And then we should be in the very familiar village from classic Cave Story, which is pretty exciting. And now we can actually have a backdrop too. So we're about to go on a bunch of adventures. There's a whole lot to do in this game, but already I've learned that I can actually go further with my tile maps. I shouldn't be afraid to have bullets shoot only a few pixels. And I want to always over-exaggerate things when they explode, because this is pretty much an action game. This is the quintessential indie action game, and I really want to over-exaggerate everything. I like that I have crazy variable jump height, although for me it doesn't really do it. I like to have games that have, I don't know, I guess a little less control, but then again, why not have crazy variable jump height if that's what you're after? It's really not that big of a deal. And if you don't know what variable jump height means, it's like I could tap this once and I won't go as high, but if I hold this down, I'll go even higher up in the air. Right here's a good point where you can see the collision, but then you can also see that I'm actually colliding with this, so I can imagine that this is a separate object on top, that then I have to jump up and it switches my plane altogether. So it looks like they have a tile map, and then if we were to do this in Construct 2, which is completely viable and doable, it would just be a tile map on top of that other tile map and on top of the player, I think. Yeah, it would be on, that layer would be on top of the player, and there we would go. Let's see what this is. I don't remember what room this is. Ah, the farm. Very cool. Just kind of looking at the level design. It's just very well done. You know, the foreground is where they spent all their time, and the characters and the gameplay and the story, it just really shows. Let me get some health here. So if you want me to play more of this game, I think we can learn a lot from it, and that way I can kind of just keep doing Cave Story stuff versus playing new games, but I'll still do whatever game I feel like doing or whatever game we can learn from. And let's actually do something different with this video. I really want you guys to comment below what you are learning from all these Let's Play to Learns, and if you're applying them to your game, especially from Cave Story. Hopefully you've played Cave Story. If not, there is a free version on the internet that you can go download, and then you can download the English installer if you don't speak whatever, I'm assuming it's Japanese, whatever language this originally comes in, but the quality won't be as good. I think it's on sale right now for Steam. Here's one more thing I want to point out, and it's this. This is really, really cool. So face value here, you can see that I'm over here, and I can walk and I'll collide with this guy. But if I'm under here, there's some cool Z order stuff that they're messing around with here that I really like. I think that's a really cool gameplay element here, where I just kind of have, and it's very simple to do. I don't even know if it's actual Z order, but like you can see that I'm outside here, and then when I go right over here, now I'm underneath it, and now I can get up here and I can jump all the way up, and now I can get back to where I was. So there's a lot of cool thought put into this level design. And that's what I would take a look at, and that's what I would take away from Cave Story before we get into actually doing some of the gameplay stuff, which I think no matter what, I will make another video on this where we're actually just playing some of the levels, because that would be really fun. But I just wanted to do a preliminary Let's Play to Learn, so we kind of got the ball rolling with it. Again, leave a comment below what it is that you have learned from Cave Story, or what it is that you've learned in general from a Let's Play to Learn and have applied to your game. I'd really like to start that discussion in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this Let's Play to Learn. If you haven't already, join our Facebook group where we can talk about your game some more. And make sure you like this video and share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more daily videos. Again, I'm Jeremy Alexander, and I'll see you next time.